they're
Yeah.
more of it on the protein side.
Okay.
Now there is carbs, so like this kind of meal, I would eat this for dinner. Lunch
Okay.
is always a leafy green salad.
Okay.
So that's just a nutritious carb that I would have more for the dinner part of my meal, you know. But it doesn't have to be expensive, and you don't, there's a lot of options. Okay, let's see here. So what is the ratio? Like I showed on the board over there, there's protein, fats, and carbs. Well, what's the ratio that you should eat? Well, this is a good one, and this is a good one. That's probably about what I followed when I was leaning up for the race that I showed you a picture of. But I would do about 40% fat, right? And then I would do maybe 30 carbs, and then whatever was left. I mean, it's hard to say, but protein and fat were by far the higher ones, and I tended to be on the high side of fat, right? Because I found that, and he talks about it in some of those links that I already showed, fat will make your ghrelin, which is the hangry, I ain't gotta give me food, right? Fat will make that hormone take longer to increase. Does that make sense? So the more fat you eat, the longer it will take for you to feel hungry, okay? So, and healthy fats are super good for cognitive health. They're just really, really good for you. So I'm a huge fat proponent. They're also, if you eat fat in the morning, it has been shown to help reduce cognitive decline. So some people will eat what they call fat bombs, which are little coconut oil, bite-sized things, and then like 1 tablespoon of coconut oil in the morning first thing, just to prevent cognitive decline. And they've even seen the symptoms of Alzheimer's reverse when you do that. So it's amazing. Yes?
Will you touch briefly, I know that you're trying to keep a schedule, on the healing properties of intermittent fasting?
Yeah, so intermittent fasting is all about, in terms of healing, that's a hard word because it can mean so many things, but what it's doing is it's giving your body a chance. Most of us always have food in our digestive tract, always. And so our bodies are designed through Paleolithic eras to have periods of time when we had no food in them. And that triggers all kinds of cycles in our gut. We have these things called macrophages, which will eat up cells that are not working properly. So let's say, the way I think of it is, let's say you have a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy. Well, eventually the photocopy over here, it's ready to be retired, and we need to have a new copy on the printer, right? Okay? But our bodies are so efficient, we don't want to get rid of that. We're like, wait, I can still read it if I squint, right? Okay? So our bodies don't want to get rid of the cells that are starting to degrade. But the process in our body that allows us to get rid of old cells so that way we can make new ones is emptying our entire intestines, right? Okay? So some people even say another form of intermittent fasting, which I believe in too, is you can do weekly, where you do this during the week, but then every 2 weeks you take a full day, where 24 hours you don't eat anything, right? And that's to stimulate all kinds of processes that will clean out your liver. It's going to clean out your gallbladder, and it's basically it's an anti-aging regenerative opportunity for your whole body to do. And it's extremely effective, and it's super healthy. And so, and then beyond the, fasting for an entire 24 hours every 2 weeks, there's another theory that says every 6 months you should go on a 3-day fast, right? Because that stimulates other cleaning, anti-aging processes. Now, I'll be honest with you, I tried a 3-day fast when I was doing my leaning up thing, and yeah, I think I made it 2.5 days, and I thought I was going to die. I was so hungry. But I was doing my high-intensity interval training and everything. But I tested my ketones. I was definitely in ketosis. I was really in ketosis. But then I was like, okay, I don't need to go this far. I'm leaning up just fine, eating every single day, right? But yes, it's an anti-aging opportunity. So these physiological processes are triggered to retire. The macrophages will start eating up the dead cells and retiring them, so we can make new ones, right? So it's really good for you. All right, so let's keep going. Anti-inflammation, this is just, they have proven that people who are systemically inflamed, and there's many reasons why we have a systemic inflammation. One is a tooth abscess. A lot of people have hidden tooth abscesses where they have root canal teeth, and that will be a slow drip of pathogens into your into your mandible. That's very close to your carotid artery, which goes straight to your heart, and you can cause plaque buildup in your heart and lead to doubling your risk of a coronary event, but I digress. The main thing is it causes systemic inflammation, any kind of root canal teeth or periodontal disease, so bleeding of the gums. That will definitely dramatically raise your systemic inflammation. And when you have systemic inflammation, studies have proven it leads to dysregulation of all your hormones, and then you can't lose weight, right? So you gotta make sure you're not inflamed, and these are ways that you can decrease your inflammation. And luckily, most of these overlap a lot of the stuff I've already talked about, right? So it's fantastic. Okay, so we're going to keep going. So here are ways to control inflammation. I eat flaxseed a lot. When I'm not trying to lean up, sometimes I'll eat, once a week maybe now these days, I'll eat yogurt, right, full of fat, the full of fat yogurt, as full of fat as I can find, and I'll put about less than a cup in a bowl, and then I have a yogurt, what I call breakfast blend mix, which is ground flax seeds, ground chia seeds. It has cacao nibs, the fermented cacao nibs, and what else do we put in it, Mom? Oh, a little bit of coconut flakes, the flakes, and there's one other, and sesame seeds ground up. And I grind them all up and I make this big mixture, and I'll put like 4 tablespoons, which is a lot, but I love it, in a little bit of yogurt. And sometimes I'll use cashew nut yogurt, which is so good, by the way, just to give myself a dairy break, And then I'll put berry anthocyanins on it, which is a berry concentrate, and I mix it all up, and sometimes that'll be my dessert. It's like ice cream. I'll eat it like my dessert. But that flaxseed and the chia seed, all of that is going to help you create a healthy microbiome in your gut to help you lose weight, and it'll make you regular and all that. And I love it. It's super, super tasty to me, especially when I mix berries with it, so I eat it like an ice cream for dessert, and it's delicious. But the flaxseed acts as a prebiotic, which feeds the bacteria that you want in your gut, right? And then green leafy vegetables, I eat that for my lunch every single day. Tons of nuts and olive oil. Green tea we're going to talk about. We're over, oh my gosh, okay, so we're going to keep going. So look for healthy substitutes for sugar. These are healthy ones. The only one I would not want you to swallow is this one right here, okay? Xylitol is great for mouth health, but you need to spit it out, but you can chew gum with it. But the rest I use all the time. This one will rebuild damaged cardiac tissue, and all of these are sweet and they're delicious. This one will actually lower your glucose when you take it, even though it's sweet. It's Epimer of fructose. Don't get me into it, but it's very good. Ask me for information if you want. Rethink what you're drinking. You should not be drinking any of these ever if weight loss is your goal. Drink water, drink other things. Green tea is a big one. I make my own sodas. I've been playing around with root beer these days, so I take a bunch of roots and I boil all the roots, sassafras, sarsaparilla, birch bark, burdock root into a pot. I make a concentrate, and then I use a soda stream maker, and then I try to, add my own carbonation. Yes?
Red wine, yes or no?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good deal.
1 to 2 glasses is fine. If you go overboard a little bit, you'll find that there's enough fructose in it, even though it's mostly converted alcohol, you will find weight loss, you'll stagnate, right? So if you find yourself stagnating, you just can't get lower than a certain set point, then I would start drinking something like vodka with seltzer water or gin, and it's because they have no sugar in them, right? So anyway, all right, so dairy substitutes, the reason why is because dairy causes inflammation, right? So I'm not saying get rid of all your dairy, but start mixing it up. So I've got regular yogurt in my refrigerator, and I got cashew yogurt in my refrigerator, and I'll just alternate them, right?
Drink whole milk or 2%?
Whole milk's fine. I wouldn't recommend drinking it every day, because everyone, whether you know it or not, you have a small inflammatory reaction every time you eat milk, right? And like cheddar cheeses and stuff. So you want to try to decrease anything that causes inflammation in your body. So just start using alternatives. Not exclusively, just mixing it up,
Cottage cheese and or yogurt?
Cottage cheese is okay, and yogurt's good because it's fermented, so it's much less of an inflammatory response in your body. And the softer cheeses don't have as much of an inflammatory response as the harder cheeses. So that's a whole other lecture, and we gotta keep going. Okay, roll asleep, we already talked about. Okay, great. This is an interesting slide, so I'm just gonna mention it to you. But if you only have 5 hours and 32 minutes in bed, and you lose 3 kilograms, Or you have 7 hours and 25 minutes in bed, or 8 hours and 30 minutes, and you lose 2.9, so almost the same amount of weight loss, but the only difference is how much you sleep. You actually are gonna gain, you're gonna lose muscle instead of fat, and you're gonna lose fat instead of muscle. Does that make sense? So you want your weight to go down, yeah, but you wanna be losing fat. You don't wanna be losing muscle, right? So this is why you have to get good sleep, otherwise you're gonna lose muscle, right? And that's really bad for those of us who are old, we're getting older. Okay, so microbiome, eat these things, these are good, we already talked about all these, it's great. Here's some examples of some of what, I love the one over here from Costco. Oh my God, so good, so good. It's one of the most delicious sauerkrauts in my opinion, but everyone's different. Okay, now we're gonna get to exercise, I'm gonna go really quick, okay? There are lots of, if you Google best exercises for weight loss, you're going to get all kinds of results. But I'm going to tell you, as someone who obsesses about this, remember, it's like my obsession, that the thing that has been shown with the most evidence, right, for what exercise will do the most good is high intensity interval training and strength training. That is how you're going to lose weight, not cardio. Now, walking is great though, and I'm a huge proponent of cycling and swimming and all that. I love that stuff, man. That's my thing, right? But weight training and high intensity interval, and you don't have to do a lot of it. You don't have to do a lot. So I'm going to explain what things you can do. Now, here's high intensity. So this is like, I will usually do about 4 or 5 of these intermixed with my weight training, right? So this is like what I do, and I'll jump rope for like 60 seconds or 120 seconds, or I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And I do as fast as I can. So like less than 60 seconds, I can do more than 60 jumps, right? So a minute and a half of jump roping fast, right? And burpees. Do you guys know what a burpee is? Okay, that's like what they're showing here. Different versions of burpees. Man, you'll be breathing hard in 60 seconds. So just 60 seconds of burpees, then 60 seconds of mountain climbers. Do you guys know what mountain climbers are? It sort of looks like this, where I'll just demonstrate for you. You put your hands down, you go like this, like you're climbing a mountain, right? Right? That's a mountain climber, okay? And just 60 seconds, and trust me, even just doing that, I can already feel my heart rate go up, right? And then you can do push-ups. I do tuck jumps on a rebounder, but see, that's because I'm crazy, but tuck jumps are where you just jump as high as you can and you try to tuck your both knees up, right? And I used to do it as a little kid. I can only do it on a rebounder now. That one's a hard one, maybe not for everyone. But if you get in squats, I'll hold a 10-pound or 15-pound squishy ball or something, and I'll just go like this, right? And then I just go like up, and I'll try to do like 10 or 12 of them, or I'll do it for 60 seconds or something. And then tricep dips, and those are pretty easy too. You can go onto a chair like this, or you can find another thing that's low, like even lower, and then you just go down, right? Up again like this, right? And when I started, I could only do 5, 4, it doesn't matter. The main thing is you're rotating and you're keeping, see, I'm already breathing. And you don't have to do much, you just do like 2 or 3 circuits, and then you're done, right? You're done. And so if you get online, so rebounding, I love rebounding, that'll get your heart rate up really quick. Although remember, it's not about cardio, it's about high intensity. You're trying to do high intensity because that's what's going to trigger a bunch of physiological responses and change in your hormones. It's that epic that I talked about, that post-oxygen consumption. If you do this kind of workout for 11 minutes, you'll continue burning calories for 2 hours after you stop, okay? So you just type in HIIT workout, and they'll give you tons of examples, and you'll be able to make your own. Make one that works for you, right? The main thing is it's high intensity. You want it high intensity, and then you stop. So, and I'll show you some statistics later I have in here, but like I said, 11 minutes, right? Just 11 minutes a day, 3 times a week, causes all kinds of physiological, hormonal changes to help you burn fat, okay? This is an interesting talk that I highly recommend you watch. This guy named William Li, he's a scientist, and this whole talk is about cancer, okay? But there was a segment in here about how it affects, anti-angiogenesis affects obesity. So remember I said all your adipose tissue is highly vascularized, right? And so the more blood vessels that are supporting it, the bigger and healthier they get, right? Which means more. And we're trying to be a little less, right? So what is a healthy way of controlling the blood vessels that support our fatty tissue? And that means a little bit less blood vessels, so we don't have as much. And the answer is eating anti-angiogenic food. You can eat foods that promote less blood vessel growth in your adipose tissue. Okay, and so what are they? Here they are right here. And of course I had them circled, but for some reason my little pen tool didn't show up on the slide. I'm sorry. But curcumin, so you want turmeric. Curcumin, right? Okay, turmeric. So that's a big one, right? Okay, another one, green tea, and I'm going to go through that in a second. A lot of green tea. Ginseng, I don't find that tasteful to incorporate in my diet, but if you want to, great. Another one here is lemon balm and white mulberry. Those are great. You can drink lemon balm tea. I drink it almost every day. I love it. It's also lowers your stress, which is going to lower your cortisol, which is also going to help you lose weight. So lemon balm tea is fantastic. I highly recommend if weight loss is your goal to start incorporating lemon balm tea and green tea into your diet. And then take turmeric, okay? So lemon balm's on the bottom. All right, and then so that's what this was all talking about here is, yes, it showed adipose tissue mass went down, body weight went down, all kinds of stuff, right? Okay, so now adipose tissue, we have two kinds, brown and white, and this is going to be quick. I already told you, you want to convert your white adipose to brown, because when you do that, you lower your homeostatic set point, right? So end showers on cold. That's just go there. That's what I'm going to say. That will convert your tissue into brown adipose. Okay. Vitamin D, make sure you have enough vitamin D. It's been correlated and associated with weight loss and with obesity. So that's a whole other lecture, but just make sure you're getting enough vitamin D into your diet and in through your skin. So here's top 10 vitamin D foods. You guys can look at this at your leisure. Make sure you're incorporating them into your diet. How much sun exposure should you get? You guys can look at this at your leisure since you'll have the PDF. But basically, you want the skin over your long bones to be exposed to the light, okay? And darker skinned people are going to need more exposure to get the vitamin D, a lot more. And so, but this is some rules of thumb. If you're getting that much in the summer, you don't need to supplement with as much, and that's something you should be aware of. You can overdose on vitamin D. D3. If you take a supplement of D3, I highly recommend you take it with K2. Because K2 is the chaperone and it will take the calcium, because vitamin D3 is going to increase your serum calcium level tremendously. And if it's through your bloodstream, it's going to stick. Calcium is sticky. It's going to stick to your blood vessels and increase your risk of a coronary event tremendously. So I do not recommend supplementing with vitamin D3 unless you take K2 with it. And K2 will latch on to that calcium in your blood, and it will take it to your bones where it's supposed to. So it will not cause hardening of the arteries, and it'll make sure you're not going to inadvertently increase your risk of a coronary event. Okay, and then here's more vitamin D3 during weight loss. This is a trial that showed its association. This is a supplement that has the correct ratio of D3, K2, and A. I think all three of those fat-soluble vitamins need to be taken together, otherwise it causes problems. That's a great one that I love. Here's another one, ADK. So if you're going to take vitamin D as a supplement, you should take it with A and you should take it with K, right? They need to go together, the three of them. And that's another lecture. Okay, so green tea, real quick. This is a super important one for weight loss, okay? It has this epigallocatechin gallate. So let's just call it EGCG. And it's a chemical constituent, it's called catechin, that changes your homeostatic set point. It will change your basal metabolic rate. So we all should be drinking green tea every day for a bunch of reasons, but for weight loss especially. And so here's tons of studies I include for you guys to look at. But basically, it's been reduced to lowering body fat, which is fantastic. And it mobilizes fat from your fat cells, which is great because you want it to release, to get rid of your fat. That's how you do it with green tea. It boosts your metabolic rate. This is all studies talking about how green tea can help you lose weight. And so catechin significantly decreased body weight and significantly maintained a body weight afterwards. So it's a great supplement to take that will help you with your goal. Here's another study, so just tons of studies on it. And so where do you get it? You can get it at Trader Joe's. Here's green tea there. Here's some studies show that matcha green tea has a higher amount of EGCG than just the tea bags. But to me, I drink just the tea bags. But you can do what you want. I love matcha green tea powder too. Now, I'm going to talk about supplements for a while. There's all kinds of supplements. There are hundreds of supplements. They're not worth anything in my opinion. I've tried them all. Okay, they're not. The amount of benefit you get from them is so minuscule as to be compared to everything else I covered in this lecture. they're so expensive, and they only give you like a tiny bit of help, that I don't really recommend them. Some of them are healthy, they've got some great things in them, like blood orange and, you know, all the stuff that's in here, grapefruit. That's from a pectin, which helps bind to things and helps you heal. But it's just a minor benefit, okay? And it's an expensive way to get such a small benefit. It's not a high yield way to lose weight and keep it off. This one I did take when I was leaning up for that race at the beginning. That was the one supplement I took, was the green tea, because I wanted high dose EGCG every day, right, to help support me. And green tea is a big one, and I knew I wasn't going to be drinking enough green tea. But if you can drink it, that's even better. You know, drink your green tea. And then there's other supplements, but they're not, like I said, worth it. The only one that I would maybe recommend for weight loss is a green tea, but if you can get it from your tea, even better, right? And I think this one is actually sold on sale right now for $3 off at Costco, but anyway. And so that's it. That's my presentation for you. I'm sorry I went so far over. It was so much.